Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Watkins Glen. Tonight marks the 200th race in BIS history. A milestone, a long time in the making. A lot of work has gone on to make this happen, and the drivers have made it the occasion it is. Tonight, round 5 of the Radical Cup Canada Winter Series 2025 and 26, and the stakes couldn't be higher. The Glen, unforgiving high-speed straights, blind crests, and corners that punish the slightest mistake. There's no hiding here. In Pro, Racine Fazui leads the championship, but Clay Morris is right on his tail. Every lap is a fight, every corner could change history. In AM, it's pure chaos. Jacob Batar, Sebastian Day, and Jesse Lambert, all neck and neck, battling for their moment to shine on this historic night. 2 classes, 4 rounds left this season, including this one. A real-world radical test drive on the line. This is more than a race. This is BIS Race 200 and 201. Watkins Glen, round 5. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the broadcast here on Pit Road Productions. My name is Reese Gardner. Morgan Smith is alongside me in the commentary box. Christian Hill pressing the buttons behind the scenes. Mo, this is going to be a super fun round. We've got this brilliant milestone to celebrate. 200 races in BIS history being marked for race 1, and it's at one of the best tracks in the United States.
Yeah, very impressive by BIS to put down 200 races. I think they have plenty more to come, and no better track, in my opinion, being from the Northeast in the North American continent here to be at Watkins Glen tonight to do the signature race.
Absolutely. It's an incredible circuit. How about you take us through it, Morgan? We got a lot to go through here.
Absolutely. Watkins Glen is fast, technical, and relentless. The lap begins with a full throttle blast down the main straight, building speed and tension before the first challenge, turn 1. Heavy braking, tight lines, and a single mistake can cost the race before it even begins. Through turns 2 and 3, the S's demand precision. Flat-out aggression will be punished. Rhythm rules here. Next comes the bus stop, a prime overtaking opportunity. Get it right and you gain positions. Get it wrong and the lap unravels. Down into the boot, everything feels fast and flowing, but no error goes unnoticed. The section feeds into the back straight, where another chance to make a move exists. Will they take it? A tight technical right-hander leads into a short uphill burst and an even tighter left, over a little crest that often unsettles the car. Momentum builds into the final sweeping left of turn 10 and right of turn 11, launching into the finish line. Fast, flat, and unforgiving. Watkins Glen doesn't forgive hesitation. It exposes the bold, rewards the brave, and punishes the timid.
Indeed it does, and that's why we love it so much. Slipstream is going to be incredibly important at this round. One of many brilliant tracks that are on the schedule for this season. We started things off at Silverstone in 2025. Fazui and Batar taking the victories in the sprint. Fazui and Day taking victories in the feature. At Mexico City, we saw Clay Morris take first blood. We saw Alex Ellis winning the pro race as well. Montreal and Monza with, I believe, Racine absent for the Canadian round. Going to Italy, Fazui struck back with taking the pro win in both races. Jacob Batar and Jesse Lambert taking victories in the sprint and feature respectively in the AM class. We're here at Watkins Glen, and Donington will be taking the next round in 2 weeks' time with Interlagos and Motorsport to round off the season. An incredible schedule with plenty of potential for fantastic racing. What have we got on the cards tonight, Morgan? The format for tonight's racing.
Absolutely. So tonight at Watkins Glen, it's going to be a relentless evening. Qualifying is going to set the opening grid only, and from there we're going to be on the finish positioning of the races. So we're going to have a race 1. It's going to be a sprint, 15 minutes. And in between that, we're going to have a short break for 5 minutes, and we're going to have the feature race. The main important detail here is the top 10 grid is inverted there. So the finishing for a sprint race number 1 is going to be extremely important for your start in the feature race.
Indeed, fixed setup, and drivers will need to take a pit stop in the feature as well. Given the nature of Watkins Glen, you get a bit of NASCAR super speedway style slipstreaming trains going. I think you'll need a buddy to pit with and slipstream out after the pit stop. Let's go through the points then before we get into the racing for tonight. Racine Fazui on top, but only by 10 points over Clay Morris, with Alex Ellis and Marshall Crocker rounding out the pro top 4, with the fifth place being taken by Ryan Otto. We have also the AM class standings. With a lot of competition here. Only 5 points separating Jacob Batta and Sebastian Day. Jesse Lambert and Kenton Young within 15 points of the championship lead coming through to the second half of the season. And in the teams standings, we have an excellent run going from Lima Racing Pro, but they are not leading by much from Jour de Course. Only 6 points separating the top two teams at the top of the standings. Satellite Racing, Lima Racing Junior, and 2410 Esports within 30 points. So given a couple of bad results or some great results here and there for some of these teams, there could be some huge changes in the standings coming out of these last few rounds. Qualifying is just about to end. We'll be getting ready to roll out for the pace lap and get ready for 9 laps of racing, which should take about 15 minutes here at Watkins Glen. Race number 200 in BIS history has Clay Morris starting on pole position alongside Alex Ellis. Great first row there. Christian Muniz and Jarrett Dunkovic will be starting off row 2. Diego Zuccarelli and Marshall Crocker will be racing out of the third row. Mauricio Parada is going to be starting alongside Kara Dudgeon. Great qualifying performances from both of those drivers, with Maya Dionarin and Asad Nakadambev rounding out your top 10. Joey Haynes has Richard Hibbs for company on row number 6. The man behind BIS, Michael Broomhead, starts lucky 13th alongside Zachary Buchanan. Nice tribute livery there for Michael Broomhead, celebrating 200 races. Lima Racing Pro holds the 8th row here with Ben Valid and Clapham, with Jacob Batta fighting for the lead of the AM Championship, and Declan Dionarin is starting alongside him. Both Dionarins present today. Jesse Lambert starts alongside Maxime Armand to round out the top 20. We have Sebastian Day starting 21st place alongside Tyler Scurali, also running the celebration scheme. Wyatt Cormier and Mark Boyd, row number 12. Kenton Young starting 25th place alongside Dylan Rennie. Cedric O'Hyan might not be too happy with that qualifying performance, starting all the way down in 27th and in 27th, and Jean-Francois Larocque starting alongside him. Daniel Salmon, Zippy. He's usually in the commentary box for this series, but it's Watkins Glen, so he's decided to have a drive behind the wheel. Got Harlan Goulbourne for company to round out the top 30. Robert Covey and Abby Shrivastava start 31st and 32nd, with Chad Payton and Jonathan Picazin on the row behind them. Keenan Blades starts 35th alongside Rick Boyd. Then Ovidio Milos has Paul Casamaja for company on the second last row of the grid. Stephen Sutherland and Richard Morris did not set times in qualifying. They are starting off the back. 40 cars getting ready to go here for the sprint race at Watkins Glen, rolling away behind the pace car. And Clay Morris setting a 139.5 dead for the pole position time. Very good performance from him there, Morgan. The question is, how long is he going to hold on to that lead?
Yeah, a lot of these guys with good qualifying laps. I'm very excited for tonight, Reese. I think Watkins Glen is going to have these guys really be able to open up these cars. I think Slipstream is going to be big, as you said earlier, but Watkins Glen has some great corners for cars like these to attack, so I expect some close racing and a lot of competitive corners out of these guys.
Coming up through the S's, this is going to be one of the big choke points on the first lap, especially the exit of turn 2 right here. The Armco barrier across the bridge right next to the racetrack. If you get some understeer, if you're running side by side and you get pushed or washed out into that wall, you're just going to be a ping pong ball in front of the rest of the field. So need to take care, give space, and remember that the race is not won on the first lap, but many races, particularly at Watkins Glen, are often lost through those S's. Moving into the chicane section, this is the bus stop, as it's affectionately known, officially the inner loop. Curb on entry there, Morgan, is certainly going to be a talking point. There's some very rough curbstones there we can see.
Yeah, Watkins Glen has seen some updates in iRacing recently as well, so the curbs have had some changes. They can catch you off guard, but a lot of these guys have Watkins Glen as a regular on their track schedule, so They're not shy to attack those curbs and really test the limits. I think tonight is going to be make or break.
Coming into the boot section, this is where a lot of the big overtakes will be made, aside from the entry into the bus stop. This part of the circuit has quite a few, I guess you could call them hairpins relative to the rest of the track, but as you can see, Watkins Glen is a huge circuit, and so these turns actually quite wide in radius, but there's lots of opportunities for outbraking. And this straight here is going to provide another good overtaking opportunity for the final sector, which is one of the places where I think we're going to be seeing a few offs.
I can agree with that as well, Reese. The boot does provide some great passing opportunities, and you can really force some drivers into, taking some alternate lines and making some mistakes through there to really open up passing opportunities. But up here is really just tough, really to nail lap after lap. It's pretty technical up here, and you really have to pay attention. And if you catch anyone driving in their mirror, it's easy to make a mistake there and let the car get the best of you.
Yeah, got to be careful on the exit of the final corner as well. The wall is quite close. We've got special camera angles for the final turn exit and the bus stop curb to see who gets through it cleanly. Race 200, some great history that this championship is continuing to make. FEL Motorsports coming on this season to officially support this esports series for the Radical Cup Canada. The green flag drops and we are away for race 200 of BIS Sim Leagues, and it's 3 wide for the lead. Clay Morris pincer moved by the satellite racing cars of Christian Moniz and Alex Ellis, and it's 3 wide again on the exit of turn 1. Clay Morris, our pole sitter, once again caught in the middle. Huge run up the hill from Maya Dionarin in the blue car. He's going to have the inside for turn 2, but he has to tuck back in for the slipstream down the straight. Jarrett Dunkovic moving up into third, and he's already with the satellite cars for the lead. Now we come to the bus stop. Let's see who gets through cleanly. Bouncing, clattering across the curbs, our 40 starters, but it looks like the majority of them have managed to get through cleanly.
It's a great start, Reese. Absolutely packed grid tonight. Battles from the top to the bottom of the grid. No one hesitating to go too wide through the bus stop. So a good, clean start as well. So these guys are really off to the races here, and it's going to be an exciting race.
Absolutely. Long train of cars snaking their way around the boot section. Bit of a mid-corner run up there, I think, from Sadna Kardembev trying to catch up to Clay Morris, with Marshall Crocker very closely in tow here. Central car on your screen at the moment. Running a little wide up ahead of them there was Mauricio Parada. A bad run up the hill, and he's left the inside open for Clay Morris to take 5th place back. Our pole sitter dropping back on the first lap, but maybe this is his first step in a recovery.
You really never want to be going too wide through these last final corners of Watkins Glen here. You really want to set yourself up good for this straight, and turn 1 is super important to get a good run up the hill. So I know those guys weren't enjoying that battle. That's a tough spot to be in there, trying to play it safe. And look at this move down into turn 1 here.
And nice run out of the corner there from Nikardembev. Morris running wide on the exit of turn 1. So he managed to nail the qualifying lap, did Clay Morris, but evidently his race has not gotten off to the best start. A very conspicuous absence, our championship leader, Racine Fazui. This is a great opportunity for the other drivers to get some extra points on them. And slipstreaming through the middle of all of them there is Marshall Crocker to rocket himself up to 5th. Always had some great skill behind the wheel as Crocker. AM champion from last season, got moved up to the Pro Division for the 2025 and 26 season, and now he'll be taking point to try and give chase to Dionarin, Dunkovic, and Ellis and Moniz.
He does have his work cut out for him, but that's great to hear. It's always exciting to be promoted in the league. You kind of dedicate your to. I know these guys are part of a big community here that does a lot of racing. So very exciting to see his promotion, and hopefully we can wish him the best here. Looks like we got a cam on Diego Zuccarelli.
Yeah, Zuccarelli also competed in the AM class last season and got moved up to pro. As pressured into a little bit of a mistake there was Mauricio Parada. Nice overtake that Zuccarelli has managed to pull off there. Managing to get himself up into 9th place. That's going to be a recovery back to where he started. You can see the focus on his features here as he tries to maximize his speed through the final corners. You see pit entry there just off the final corner on the inside. That's going to be something we need to think about for the feature race coming up later tonight. But for the moment, keep our eyes peeled on turn 1 as Maya Dionarin sets the fastest lap so far, 1:40.00. Richard Hibbs now up the inside of Mauricio Parada, and Brady Clapham in the Lima car is going to drag himself along with them. Joey Haynes right with them as well, gets in the slipstream of Parada, and it looks like a triple threat there for Mauricio. He is going to drop back now to 9th place, it would appear, or a little bit further back as well. Still side by side though. Haynes not able to complete the move through the bus stop.
These guys trying to be as respectful as possible. You know, one guy in the grass, the other one in the grass on the exit. So trying to give each other as much room as possible. But overall, looks like we are getting the move done here and we are off to the boot.
Down into the braking zone then. Lots of speed being carried. But you need to, I think, take it a bit easy at points around the boot. Watkins Glen, obviously a low downforce circuit, and it certainly has a lot of high load corners. Keeping an eye out here at car number 520. There's Maxime Armand in 18th place, trying his best to work his way past Sebastian Day. Got Tyler Scarali up behind them here, and Maxime, for the moment, is trying his best to stay in touch with the AM class leader at the moment, which is Declan Dionarin. It's a very close fight that these guys are having at the moment. Maxime has come prepared, evidently, wearing full race gear in his rig.
Hey, I can't knock that. Got to look the part. You know, dressing for the job is half the battle, in my opinion. So shout out to him. He's looking good. He's invested in it, and you know, that's great to see.
It looks like Maxime did not get the best run through turn 1 though, so he better hope he has a good run up the hill here, or he's going to lose touch with all the drivers ahead of them. Buchanan, Declan Dionarin, John Benvalid and Sebastian Day battle ahead of him as they make their way into the bus stop. It looks like Buchanan and Dionarin have made contact there. That's going to slow everyone up, and that's the chance that Maxime Armand was looking for.
Yeah, with a great view from Maxime there. These guys have been pushing each other through the bus stop 2 wide every single lap, so I'm not too surprised we're going to have incidents.
Oh, God!
4 wide.
My goodness! I didn't even notice all the cars coming up on them, Mo.
Yeah, big competitive brake zone here into the boot. It's important to get the grip coming up this hill. The track starts to lean away, like you said, high load on the car, so it's easy to lose the rear end, and then down here to a sharp right where the braking is super important to make sure your trajectory up the hill is you know, you're pointing your car in the right direction, because they did redo the off track on the outside of the track there, so you cannot use that extra track outside there at Watkins Glen on that corner anymore either. So
no.
It is tough. It is more technical there, and it's a good fix in my opinion for iRacing.
Yeah, certainly is, and this full layout of Watkins Glen has those off-track rules around the entire circuit. Basically, as long as you have 2 tyres on those curbs, you're good. You run beyond them, you will get the off-track. Oh, half of them thought about a move there from Sebastian Day, and it looks like it spooked Declan Dionarin slightly. It's going to be a poor run up the hill for the 2-2-4. Does Sebastian Day stick it up the inside at turn 3? He does, and the momentum carries him through into the position. He now sits in 15th place and leads the AM class. That is a fantastic maneuver there for Day, who's had a fantastic run of the AM class this season. Cara Dudgeon and Maxime Armand still with them, and all it's going to take is one small mistake, like what just happened there for Armand. Tyler Scarali is going to move through there 2 wide through the carousel. Now, we have to start thinking about lap times. Who has got the best average pace at the moment? Well, we're seeing that Clay Morris has the fastest lap with a 139.6, but Marshall Crocker Jr. is the fastest car on track at the moment, setting a 39.5 in 5th place. This battle we're looking at the moment, it would appear that Cara Dudgeon has quite a bit of extra pace over Day and D'Honorin.
Yeah, good spread of pace, but as we said earlier, an absolutely packed grid, so there's battles all over the racetrack to watch. The grid is starting to spread out a little bit, but it's only a 15-minute sprint race, so I expect battles right to the finish line, Reese.
Yeah, I'm expecting the same. It looks like there's been a change for 4th in the interim. Marshall Crocker, continuing his massive run of pace, has made his way past Maya D'Honorin, and they and Clay Morris now form a 3-car pack, trying to chase our overall top 3. And it looks like they're all playing the game at the moment here at the front. Nice bump drafting, a little bit of a draft train going here between the satellite cars and Jarrett Dunkovich, but Dunkovich is going to go for the move at the entry to the inner loop. Makes his way past Alex Ellis and now splits the satellite cars. Crocker, D'Honorin and Morris have been trying the same thing. They've been bump drafting each other down the straights, but it looks like their battle has unfortunately fallen by the wayside. Morris, I think, had a poor run through the bus stop, and now he's in trouble of falling outside the top 6.
Yeah, the top 3 have been driving confidently since the beginning of the race. Haven't had a lot of screen time, but on the relative, they've been kind of sticking together, staying ahead of the pack just a little bit. As you just saw, doing some bump drafting and making sure they stay ahead, so to speak. And that's good. That's good. Christian Muniz and Alex Ellis, of course, rocking the same paint, so I'm eager to see if they're going to work together to deal with Dunkovich, who just kind of snuck in between them, and now he's got what looks like a red, blue, white sandwich.
Yeah, absolutely. Satellite Racing, the red, blue and white schemed cars have been an active sim racing team for quite some time. I believe they are also active in real world competition as well. It's great to see them come here, especially with the 2 fantastic drivers at the front of the field. As my goodness, Paul Casamayor, a lapped car there, finding himself in a little bit of trouble there in turn 1. That's broken up the top 3 a little bit. Christian Muniz just avoiding getting into him. It's a tough position to be in as a lapped car at Watkins Glen, because you're obviously somewhat under obligation to not run into the leaders, but if you're off pace and you don't have the slipstream, it can be very difficult to negotiate through the high-speed corners.
One thing I find the most difficult, Reese, when you are a lapped car or a little bit behind and you're letting faster drivers through, is trying to treat every driver that's coming through equally and making sure they each get their shot, to not hold one up more than the others, etc. And that's just hard, like you said, when you're going around a little bit off pace on track, staying out of the slipstream. Timing is just tough with that. So these guys try to look out for each other the best they can, but it is what it is, and everyone tries to make as much room on the track for each other as possible.
They do indeed. Oftentimes, though, there is a potential for not enough room, and it looks like that's what's happened between Declan D'Honorin and Cara Dudgeon. Declan falling down the order as Dunkovich now is under pressure from Alex Ellis. Maybe a little bit of a tap to the diffuser there. Look at that slide there from Alex Ellis. He's already won races in this championship. He knows what it's like. Jarrett Dunkovich has yet to visit the top step of the podium from memory, so this could be his biggest race yet, especially if Christian Muniz gets into the wall on the exit of the final turn.
I did see that as well. Could be a little bit of netcode. I've seen that as well. Maybe he didn't hit the wall in his game. That definitely happens a lot on that wall in particular at Watkins Glen, so you never know. I think with Alex Ellis having been on Muniz's bumper for so long at the beginning of this race, he is keen on getting past Dunkovich here and getting back up to Muniz.
Okay, so I think we might have to queue up a replay for Parada and Nakardambev as Ellis gets back past Dunkovich coming into the inner loop. Unfortunately, Paul Casamayor had another problem with lapping cars coming up to him on the exit of the penultimate turn. Unfortunately, slowed up Richard Hibbs, which made Parada and Nakardambev concertina into each other. and that has unfortunately resulted in both of the Bev Motorsport cars falling down the order, having to visit pit lane for damage repair. We've had a few casualties out of this race so far. You see that Casamajor is in the green car up ahead, and it looks like Haynes gets past him all right, but on the exit here, the slow car, and Richard Hibbs checks up, and then Parada and Bev get into him, and yeah, both of those cars with damage. That's a real shame, because both Parada and Bev had great pace today.
I do want to take this moment to point out, Reese, it looks like our guy, Daniel Zippy Salmon, is actually our biggest mover currently, up 15 spots. So having a good race starting in the back, and Zippy hoping to get a good result this evening.
Yeah, it would appear that he's keeping it clean. Meanwhile, for the lead, Christian Muniz has skipped away. This is the battle for second we're looking at the moment, and Crocker is right with them. An incredible run of pace here from Marshall as they come up on Richard Morris now. Bit of contact there. Oh, God. Oh, no. They've come together, and my goodness, Marshall Crocker Jr. keeps it straight. How did he hold on to that? He was full sideways.
Some unbelievable driving from Crocker here.
That's crazy. Fantastic job to hold on to it, but he has unfortunately lost touch with Ellis and Dunkovic, with some very interesting goings on here on track. Now it's up to Ellis and Dunkovic to catch back up to Muniz. They only have a couple of laps remaining in this race. In fact, it is the final lap, and we're gonna have to start thinking about what our move of the race is. We might well look at it for the moment with not just Dunkovic trying to make his way past Ellis. Contact on the way into the penultimate corners. Oh, forced wide, Jarrett Dunkovic. And
Ellis
Crocker
up there.
Yeah, he did. He was a bit deep on the inside. Crocker catching up a little bit further. Christian Muniz has no draft assistance up front, but I think the gap for the lead is just enough. The checkered flag is in the air and ready to wave for our satellite racing cars, who are going to come home 1-2 for race 200 in BIS Sim Leagues. Christian Muniz and Alex Ellis, your top two. Jarrett Dunkovic finishing P3. Marshall Crocker, what a fantastic recovery to get fourth in the end. Zuccarelli fifth, Morrison, Mayer Diona in sixth and seventh. My goodness, what a finish. Battles still going on further back here. And have a look at this on the exit of the final corner. Oh, well, that's disappointing. The driver's not pushing as hard as we'd like there to stay in the frame. A very close finish there between Jesse Lambert and Declan Diona. Declan managing to stay in the top 20 despite his issues. So that's good to see as the field comes across the line. You know what, Morgan? I'm gonna stick my neck out and say that Marshall Crocker Jr.'s save at the S's there was the move of the race for me.
I would agree with that. I think we're gonna need to get a replay, hopefully. If it's possible, it would be great to see that again. But I almost any car on the surface, Reese, is hard to save when you get that sideways, and there's going to be some luck and some skill involved there for sure. So shout out Marshall Crocker Jr. for this save.
Absolutely. Unfortunate contact with the lapped car. You can see the wall coming up on him there, and this is a super high speed. That's incredible. Unfortunately, the session switched over just a little bit there, but oh my God, he was fully on the lock stops there. That's incredible. Man, Marshall Crocker, he's always had skill. He's always been fast, but you really get a picture of a driver's skill level when they have to save something like this.
Yeah, that's what we call a traumatic event. That's a level up experience. So whatever level he was, he's +1 now after that. It's clear as day. That's the next color belt. He earned it. To save it on the snapback too, it going back and forth like that, that's great. Incredible.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Well, Marshall can certainly be happy with that. And I think a few drivers can be very happy with the positions that they've made up, particularly our friend Daniel Zippy Salmon. Let's go through the results of race one then. Christian Muniz finishing P1, and the gap in the end was only 0.6 of a second. Alex Ellis and Jarrett Dunkovic separated by a single tenth. Marshall Crocker holding on for 4th, with Diego Zuccarelli and Clay Morris rounding out the top 6. Maya Dionarin gaining 2 spots to finish in 7th. Joey Haynes up to 8th place. Brady Clapham started 16th, made his way up to 9th, and Michael Broomhead rounding out your top 10. A clean race for him. John Benvalid, 15th to 11th. Sebastian Day and Tyler Scaralli, they started 21st and 22nd, finished 12th and 13th in the end. Very good drives from them. Daniel Salmon, meanwhile, started in 29th and finishes 14th. A huge amount of positions gained. Only one less, though, than, about the same amount of positions, sorry, that Harlan Goulbourne managed to gain. Started 30th, finished 15th. Wyatt Cormier, Cara Dudgeon, Mark Boyd, Jesse Lambert, and Declan Dionarin will round out your top 20. With Robert Covey finishing in 21st, Dylan Rennie in 22nd, Jean-Francois Larocque gains 5 positions to finish in 23rd. Chad Payton started 33rd, ended up 24th in the end, thanks to the issues for everyone behind him. Unfortunately, Assad Nakardembev, Maxime Armand, Mauricio Parada, Piquet Buchanan, and Batta all had issues over the course of the race. I think various bits of contact and battles making them fall by the wayside there. Cedric O'Hyan, Rich Hibbs, Rick Boyd, Kenton Young, Abby Shrivastava, Richard Morris, Stephen Sutherland, Paul Casamajor, Keenan Blades, and Ovidio Milos will round out your field, and getting into retirement territory there with Blades and Milos, unfortunately. Well, that is going to round things off for the first race of the night. We are officially 200 races down, Morgan, and I'm really hyped for the feature, honestly. If that's the kind of action we got there in the sprint, throw a pit stop into the mix, it's going to be spectacular.
Yeah, pit stop is going to be exciting. Another packed grid for the second race. A little bit more time to see these guys, race and plans play out on the racetrack. Watkins Glen definitely came out and did not disappoint for race 200. So it was great to see from the BAS guys. I'm sure they're happy with the attendance and the racing out there tonight.
Yeah, I'm sure they are too. We also have a couple more things to go through here in the break just before we switch on over to race number 2. Remember that BIS has welcomed a new championship to the organization, racing on Fridays, the Canadian F1200 Esports Championship. There's spots still open, and like it is here, a prize for Pro and Am champions to take a half-day test in a real-world Formula V car from Cartini Racing. There's also a new initiative in that series. If you finish on the lead lap, you get a ballot, and at the end of the season, there'll be a draw. The lucky driver gets 2 10-lap sessions as well. So you don't have to win, just be consistent and show up for your chance in the hot seat. Round 1 took place 2 weeks ago. Brandon Hawken and Mark Boyd leading the way in their respective classes. You can join to take them on this Friday at Summit Point. Scan that QR code, join the Discord to sign up and take your shot at Sim to Reality. Much like is happening here in the Radical Cup Canada Winter Series, supported by FEL Motorsports. A real-world test in an actual Radical Cup car is on the line for the Pro and Am Championships in this series. Plenty of competition, plenty of fantastic battling to be had. I mean, if anything, Morgan, it's really a chance to learn from the best.
Absolutely. I do not get too many times on track in the PRP car, but when I do, it's always a privilege with the BIS guys. These guys have a very good and knowledgeable community. They hold a very high standard around here, and it's great to see them coming out with another event. I'm sure it's going to be run to the highest standard. Everything's top-notch here at BIS, including the drivers, the etiquette, the conversations in Discord, etc. So I'm just happy to be a part of it. Everything feels like a privilege here, Reese. It's all green lights on the boulevard, as they say.
Absolutely. Speaking of green lights, we are not far away from getting them for race 2. The session has officially switched over, and so now we get an opportunity to go through the grid for the feature. The top 10 have been inverted. So Michael Broomhead's going to be starting on pole alongside Brady Clapham. Joey Haynes starting third alongside Maya Dionarin. And this is another opportunity for Maya to get a podium that he missed out on in race 1. Clay Morris and Diego Zuccarelli are your third row. Then Marshall Crocker starting out of 7th alongside Jarrett Dunkovic. And then Alex Ellis and Christian Moniz round out the top 10 there. From there on back, it's where they finished in race 1. John Benvalid and Sebastian Day on row number 6. Tyler Scurali and Daniel Salmon 13th and 14th. Zippy's going to be very interested to make up a few more positions there. Harlan Goulbourne and Wyatt Cormier will want to gain more spots as well, but they're going to have some pretty fast drivers behind them trying to regain spots they lost in race 1, like Cara Dudgeon and Mark Boyd. We have Jesse Lambert and Declan Dionarin rounding out the top 20. With Robert Covey making up 10 positions in race 1, going to be starting out at 21st alongside Dylan Rennie. Jean-Francois Larocque and Chad Payton on row number 12. Then we have Asad Nakadembev and Maxime Armand, 2 drivers that had big issues in race 1. They'll want to make a recovery. It's the same for Mauricio Parada with Jonathan Pekazin alongside him. Pekazin taking a small gain there in race number 1. Zach Buchanan and Jacob Batta round out your top 30. And then it's Cedric O'Hyan and Richard Hibbs, 31st and 32nd. Remember, Hibbs started 12th in race 1, but was unfortunately involved in that altercation with a lapped car. Rick Boyd and Kenton Young, 33rd and 34th, with Abby Shrivastava starting out at 35th alongside Richard Morris. Stephen Sutherland and Paul Casamaja, the second last row of the grid. And then Keenan Blades and Ovidio Milos will take to the start at the very back. 2 drivers who weren't able to make it to the finish of race 1. Maybe they'll have a chance here. A double-length race. It's 18 laps with a pit stop for fuel required. And like I said at the top of the show, Mo, the slipstream is going to really come into play in this one. Not only does it offer you an opportunity to stay with the drivers ahead of you, but also maybe save a bit of fuel as well to play around with the strategy a bit more.
You got it, Reese. Watching race 1, I was a little bit interested in the slipstream's role in some of the cornering issues that some of the guys have. Do you have anything to say about, dirty air and being too close to the cars in front of you when you're going into, some high load corners?
Oh yeah, absolutely. The speeds they're carrying here, I mean, these cars are sports cars, and so they are able to follow each other a bit closer than, say, Formula 1 cars and Indy cars, for example. Most of the downforce that these cars generate is produced through the floor. The underbody aero providing a lot of grip there. The rear wing is mostly just for tuning the behavior of the rear end of the car. That being said, at a high-speed circuit like this, I think they will still be quite sensitive behind other cars, especially on lap 1 on cold tyres. There's going to be a lot of I think tiptoeing being done by the drivers. Nakadembev wanting a better result than he ended up getting in race 1. Just needs to stay out of trouble to get it done. Maybe he can add another win to his current tally of 4. Young guy, Assad, still in his teens, and he has raced karts in the real world, also recently driving a spec racer Ford as well, making his way up in the world of real-life racing. And he's been a BIS competitor for quite some time. There's always been an element one way or another. Coming up then to the last few corners, we'll wait and see what we have for the start of race 2 here. Clay Morris, remember, started on pole position for race 1, but didn't quite get there in the end. He has 10 wins to his name and was dominant in the BIS F3 championship that was run earlier last year. He is an engineer in the real world Radical series and has plenty of success to his name in BIS. Let's see if he can break further into that top 5 as the pace car comes into pit lane, and Michael Broomhead takes point for the start. He and Clapham will have it all to play for ahead of them here as the green flag drops. 200 races down. Let's enter the next 200. Broomhead nails the start. and he will find his way into turn one with no threat from behind. Joey Haynes immediately makes his way past Brady Clapham. Some pressure being put on by Maya Dionorine as well. Got some drivers that are falling down the order in turn one, and one of them is Assad Nikardembev. Unfortunately, the 230 of young Assad has not made his way out of turn one cleanly. Meanwhile, our race winners there from the previous race are jostling about here back in the pack as they find their way to the bus stop. Broomhead has lost the lead to Joey Haynes, but Haynes is in the grass. Broomhead's in the grass too. Clapham sweeps round the outside to regain second, and Maya Dionorin gets into the top three.
Off to a great start, Reese. Both of those guys having a tough bus stop. Maybe took too much curb. I didn't see what happened before that. Also, I do want to say Muniz had a little bit of struggle, a little bit of wiggle on turn one there. Dunkovic pounced on the opportunity as well. Now Muniz seems to have lost a couple more spots. So hopefully him and Ellis can link back up and make their way through the pack into the front of the grid.
Yeah, Muniz still running in ninth, battling for eighth with Diego Zuccarelli. Alex Ellis, meanwhile, has made his way up into fifth. He's there ahead of Broomhead and Crocker, who go side by side through these turns. And oh dear, looks like that's Dylan Rennie and Arlen Goulbourne that have come together in the background there, falling down the order, and another car joins them. I'm not sure who that was there. It might have been Rick Boyd. That's not ideal there at the back of the field, but at the front, things still just as intense as they've always been. Lap one is over, and Brady Clapham leads the way from Maya Dionorin. Let's see then what Alex Ellis and Joey Haynes have for us with Marshall Crocker right behind them, and Clay Morris trying to fight their way forward. Broomhead falling to 7th place, but he's got the slipstream, and if you're in this pack, you'll have it for a long time to come.
Honestly, Reese, I'm just mesmerized watching these guys compete so close together with all of these good-looking paints. It looks like real life. It's beautiful out here. These guys are putting on a great show, so it's exciting, and wow, more contact through the bus stop. These guys they don't take any laps off, Reese.
God. They certainly don't. Crocker sees the move to the inside open, but Christian Muniz gets on the power just a little bit better. That's the battle for fifth we're looking at, and I'm seeing some 9 cars involved in that fight. It goes all the way back to Jesse Lambert and P13. Crocker defending from Morris now, as they try their best to sort themselves out. It's a long race. Need to make sure that you have the car under you and you've avoided damage in these early stages. Stay in touch with the drivers ahead. Don't run side by side too much. Marshall Crocker manages to make another nice save there, but he has lost 2 positions out of that one. Dunkovic moving ahead.
Muniz was able to capitalize on that little bit of chaos, stuck his elbows out, and has jumped ahead of these guys, and he's looking to link back up there with Ellis. So hopefully Clay Morris and Dunkovic can put their head down and catch back up to those guys, so there's not a gap in our lead group here.
Indeed. Slight problem for Zippy. Coming out of the last couple of corners. He was holding on nicely to his starting position for most of the first couple of laps, but unfortunately has fallen down to 23rd place after a brief altercation in the final sector. We're keeping an eye, though, on Morris and Dunkovic here, as it looks like a gap has now formed between the top 5 and the rest of them. Who wants to lead is the question, and coming through the bus stop again, clattering over these curbs. It's so difficult to try and pick your line through here. Sebastian Day and Diego Zuccarelli side by side. Michael Broomhead up the inside then of Marshall Crocker Jr. and will consolidate that position once more. They still somehow remain within a second of the cars ahead.
It's just a beautiful track, Reese. All of these corners are just so flowing to watch 2 cars, especially with that, top-down view. Absolutely beautiful track, great venue. Race 201 here, off to a great start. So, well on our way to 300 already, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Fantastic fighting, fantastic battling, and a bumper field of cars once more for the Radical Cup Canada Winter Series. And well, we're starting to see a bit more come from this fight here. Broomhead trying to fight back against Crocker as it's side by side behind them briefly. Zuccarelli and Day sort themselves out. Lambert, Parada, Benvalid and Buchanan now, all the way down to 17th, all a part of this battle. Unfortunately, problems have continued for Richard Hibbs, and Abby Shrivastava also has had an issue. They are both in the pits, having towed back 2 by 2. Noah's arcing it out of turn 1 there. Mauricio Parada has to give up the place to Jesse Lambert, but tell you what, Parada has had a great race so far. So has Zach Buchanan. Parada's up 14 spots, and Buchanan up 15 spots if he can get past Benverlid.
Wow, these guys almost catch air over that curb every lap. These guys are no holds barred tonight. I know what it feels like in other cars. I can only imagine. Oh, looks like a mistake here from Dunkovic. Hopefully we'll get some eyes on that.
Yeah, that's a shame there for Dunkovic, and it looks like he's got a bit more damage than might appear from the outside. He does get back up to speed, but that is a huge loss of positions there for the man who had a fantastic first race. Let's see what happened to him then. The Team ERC machine having a pass made on him, and that's an incident that happens a lot at the bus stop, I think. You know, you turn in on the outside, and it's a really narrow line actually through an incredibly fast sequence, and so you really got to trust the driver alongside you to make room. Unfortunately, I believe it might have been Morris who was making the move on him, ended up getting into him, and I don't think Zuccarelli necessarily did anything wrong there. It's just a case of 2 going into 1.
Yeah, it did look like Clay Morris based on the paint. Looks like Mauricio Prado up 16 positions here, off to a great start in race 201 here at Watkins Glen. So we got some eyes on him. He's got a lot of cars in front and the back, so pressure's on here.
Certainly is. Not too far up the road is Sebastian Day running in P9, and Day's having a good one here. Is championship rival Jesse Lambert separated from him by 3 cars, including Zuccarelli. My goodness gracious, side by side again through the bus stop. And I mean, it just amazes me that they're able to get through that turn cleanly in the first place. 3 Lima Racing cars battling against Zach Buchanan there in the background of shot. Buchanan gets the exit down, and it looks like it's Clapham, Lambert, and Benverlid who are all trying to take point in this fight and be the lead Lima Racing car.
Their cars are looking beautiful there, 3 in a line. I love to see that. Always love to see matching team paints. I'm sure these guys wish they were a little bit higher up on the grid right now, but I think with a little bit of team effort, they are going to be able to make up some of those spots here in the next handful of laps, hopefully.
Yeah, here's hoping. Well, lap 5 out of 18, and if you're way down the field at the moment, maybe now is the time to think about coming into the pits. You might be able to gain a bit of track position later on, but I think the drivers up the front of the field will be trying to make their tanks last as long as possible. They'll be pitting as late as they can and waiting for each other to blink. As I said at the top of the show, as Maniz sets the fastest lap in P2, it's 1-2 for Satellite Racing once again. The pit strategy is really dependent on slipstream. If you get a lightning pit stop, Mo, it's not going to be much use if you don't have anyone to draft off on your outlap.
You got it, Reese. And some other cars, you know, you can kind of get away with finding some fresh air and, you know, hoping the guys that are racing each other are making mistakes. But when a pack like this is driving together in their slipstream line, they're just going to be too fast for any solo driver to keep up in lap time. So you got to be really careful when you time your pit so you don't end up alone too long, so that you can get back in line here and make the most of it.
There's been a problem for Brady Clapham. You may note that there are now 2 Lima cars at the back of this train instead of 3. Unfortunately, after an exchange for position between Clapham and Benverlid, Brady ran wide out of turn 1. He went over the curb, slight elevation change at the exit of turn 1, getting him unstable, and he tried to recover it, but the snapback sent him into the safer barriers there. He is damaged and way down on pace. Hopefully he can get back to pit lane, get his service done, get his damage repaired, and might be able to preserve a finish from here. Well, Oh no, I've just seen a problem for Diego Zuccarelli as well, and oh my goodness, Zach Buchanan around at the final couple of corners as well. Right in time here for Broomhead and Boyd to arrive on the scene. Jesse Lambert jumps into pit lane. Broomhead also jumps in too. Looks like a couple of drivers pulling the trigger early.
Yeah, that is exciting to see. It looks like Mauricio Prado was making the absolute most of all of that opportunity. He is now up 19 positions, driving well in position 8. So I'm excited to see when he takes his pit stop and see where he comes back out and gets sorted in line. I'm hoping to, have a big mover like that all the way to the finish line. That's super exciting.
Make that 20 positions up as Parada made the move on Sebastian Day down the back stretch. Will he make it up 21 with Clay Morris not too far ahead? This is going to be quite an interesting drive from Parada if he can hold on to this, and a great recovery from the disaster that befell him in race number 1. So keeping an eye on the leaders, what they're going to do in terms of pit strategy. Maya Dionarin in tow of the 2 satellite cars at the front of the field. Ellis and Muniz both with some pretty good pace. All the leaders are setting pretty much the exact same lap times at the moment. So it's all going to come down to who blinks first on the pit strategy. I think if Ellis decides to come in, it's a foregone conclusion that Muniz and Dionarin are going to follow him. And it looks like he might be going for it. Yes, Alex Ellis, our leader, has jumped into pit lane, but Muniz and Dionarin have stayed out.
Oh, that's going to be exciting to see. I am not too sure, Reese. I myself usually do not cut fuel, but how many of these guys do you think are cutting their fuel margin, trying to make the most of their pit stop? Do you think we're going to see anyone possibly even run out of fuel later?
Yeah, that is a question. It all depends on if you come out with someone ahead of you to slipstream, because what Ellis could do here is maybe short fuel by a couple of liters or so, and he might be able to save that fuel in the final stint, but it all depends on if he has someone to slipstream with. Unfortunately, as we can quite clearly see, there is no one around him apart from Jean-Francois Larocque, who's making his way out of turn 1 there, but no one ahead of Ellis for the moment, apart from Jonathan Picazin, who isn't too far up the road. So if Ellis has short-filled, then it might be the opportunity he's looking for. In terms of actual pit stop times, it would appear that Ellis has one of the longer conventional pit stops, 9.5 seconds stopped in the box, and that looks pretty consistent with what we've seen from everyone so far.
Getting that cockpit view of the bus stop was great. These guys are absolutely attacking the curb. I can think of quite a few cars on the service that wouldn't want anything to do with how much curb these cars are accepting from these drivers. So they're really wheeling and dealing. These guys know what they're doing in these radical cars.
That was quite a big dive there at the toe of the boot from Ellis, getting ahead of Jonathan Picazin. And his next target will be Chad Payton. See the pace difference here as Ellis has come out and roundabout just inside the top 20. There's no response from anyone else there. It looks like Alex. Oh my God! Oh no! That's put a spanner in the works for sure. Chad Payton around, and it looks like that was a solo error from Payton that unfortunately got Ellis caught up, and Payton gets back rolling. How much damage does Ellis have, I wonder?
Yeah, it didn't
He's
look
back
too
in the
bad.
pits.
Oh, maybe some wheel damage.
That's a real shame here. So Payton catches the grass, and there's really nothing Ellis could do from that point on. He was just too close to react in time, and unfortunately I think that's completely ruined Alex Ellis's race. This is the onboard of it, and well, you could see he was committing to the exit, and yeah, I mean, he was still catching up to him as he spun. If I were in that position, Mo, I wouldn't have been able to react in time.
No, absolutely not. The car that was unsettled just ahead of him, he was going through the exact same spot, so it's not easy to make corrections through that area. It didn't look like he had too much damage, Reese. I'm wondering, maybe what happened to him. I'm eager to see in chat later in Discord. Maybe he can, kind of let us know what kind of condition his car was in after that contact. It didn't look too bad.
Yeah, certainly didn't. Well, from Alex Ellis's perspective, he now sits 23rd. We saw him making the move on Zippy for that position. And now we'll be keeping our eyes on who makes their way into the pits next. It looks like Benvalid, Dudgeon, and Boyd have all jumped in. Assad Nakardambev following them into pit lane, and I think Wyatt Cormier might be doing the same. Pit lane, a hive of activity at the moment. And I've got to wonder who's going to get the best stop out of this group. Cara Dudgeon has been recovering nicely, up 5 positions so far, and Mark Boyd roughly the same. But how many of these drivers have saved fuel is the question. The 57 of Cormier comes into his pit box at quite the angle. And there we go. That's going to be Cara Dudgeon out ahead. And a bit longer pit stop there. Dudgeon stopped for 12.5 seconds. Nakardambev for 10 seconds. Declan Dionarin also 10 seconds. Benvalid nearly 12 seconds. Some pretty long pit stops for these drivers in the midfield.
I think it goes to what you were saying earlier, Reese, about maybe planning ahead, knowing they're not going to have draft. Some of these guys in the top 10 and 15 drivers have had well over a second of gap in front and behind them for a number of laps now. So maybe just anticipating that fuel consumption going up a little bit in the second stint for the race and making sure they're safe to get across the line.
Well then, cars slightly heavier. Need to manage the momentum a little bit more, as it looks like there's more moves coming into pit lane. Dionarin, Haynes, Morris, and Crocker all finding their way into the pits. That leaves Christian Muniz, Mauricio Parada, and Sebastian Day in the AM class. Round out your top 3. Only other cars to yet to come into the pit lane is Jarrett Dunkovic, as Maxime Armand jumps into pit lane behind these guys. So we're not far away from the pit cycle being completed. Looks like Robert Covey has yet to come into pit lane as well. About 10.5 seconds for Marshall Crocker, make that 11, and looks like he'll come out behind Morris, Haynes, and Dionarin. But across the line here for Michael Broomhead, he's already pit. This is the man behind BIS. Many years ago, setting up this championship series, and has really brought the real world and virtual worlds together. Race 201, I'm sure Broomhead can be proud of the achievements that he's made here on board, coming up through the S's. It's flat out from the exit of turn 1. And then you're trying to pick your braking zone for the bus stop, braking quite late, carrying a lot of speed. Not taking as much of the curb as some, but I think that might be the safer option for Mike, is being safe has certainly gained him quite a bit in the past. Coming out of the carousel, super fast corner into this left-hander, the apex a little bit later than you think, and you get on the throttle as hard as you like, you'll be able to make your way out. It's a nice bowl shape to that corner. Broomhead searching for a late apex here at the toe of the boot and searching for the best exit down the back straight, as Muniz, Parada, and Day have all jumped into the pits. Jarrett Dunkovic following them in. The field is cleansed. Broomhead coming up on a little bit of traffic here. It's Rick Boyd that's in front of him here. Has to back off a little bit in the final sector as Boyd spins. Fortunately for Broomhead, plenty of room to the inside to get past him. And then you're just lifting maybe a tap of the brakes through the penultimate corner to try and keep the weight on the fronts, and then carrying as much speed as you dare through the final turn here, making sure you don't hit the safer barrier on the exit. A lap on board with the founder of BIS Sim Leagues, and what an achievement it's been to have BIS running as long as it has and still have fields like this years into its existence. Broomhead sits 10th, but for how long? Jarrett Dunkovic just making his way out of the pit lane, right behind him, and Dunkovic picks up the slipstream. See if he can grab a top 10 out of this one. For the moment, it looks like Dunkovic has the momentum, and Broomhead will slip in behind.
That's a great onboard with the BIS founder here, Michael Broomhead. Dunkovic having a good move through the bus stop, but I expect, as you explained during the on lap, Michael Broomhead just playing it safe, keeping the car out of trouble and making sure that he gets across the finish line, and if it was real life, home to the family.
Absolutely. Well, out of the pit cycle, looks like the battles are for 3rd, for 5th, for 10th, for 15th in the top 20. Morris and Haynes have lost touch with Muniz and D'Honorin ever so slightly. Crocker and Parada very close for 5th and 6th. And once again, it's been a phenomenal rise through the field for the 81 of Mauricio Parada. 21 places gained now and sitting in P6 nice and solidly. The battle here, Zach Buchanan, the blue car, chasing Michael Broomhead. He's up 17 places, and not far behind is Assad Nakata, Bev and Jacob Batta, 2 other cars who have had double-digit rises in position.
It looked like Assad had a good pit stop that he was happy with as well. I know he gained a spot or 2 in the pit cycling, so looking to make the most of it. I'm sure he's going to close that gap and put some pressure on Buchanan and the back of Broomhead here very shortly.
Just flashing up at the top of the screen there, Alex Ellis setting the fastest lap of a 139.3. Ellis, of course, having to visit the pits twice due to damage, and down in 15th at the moment. Not sure if he'll be able to rise much further than that, but we'll have to wait and see as we find our way through the carousel in this battle once again for P10. For 12th in particular, Assad Nakad and Bev. 10.4 seconds stop with Buchanan second faster in the box and about 8/10 of a second faster through the entire pit lane. So Assad, I think, has a little bit more fuel to play with. He can afford to be a bit more aggressive here at the final laps.
With Christian Muniz, our leader, and Mauricio Potter, our biggest mover, both taking the other approach to their pit cycling where they push the fuel as long as possible. It does look like they are both benefiting pretty well from that. So you never know the strategy till after the race, whatever the best strategy was for that day. And we also saw some of these guys that took an early pit stop get in some trouble in traffic as well. So that always comes into play when you're making those decisions.
Yeah, certainly does. Coming out to the end of the lap then, 5 laps remain. And we still have a move of the race to figure out. Might even be something from further on forward as Buchanan makes the move on Broomhead.
Taking all of the curb here, Clay Morris out of the bus stop, down into the sweeping right-hander here. Always good to hug the curb so you can get a good exit, use as much of that outside curb as possible without hitting that wall. Late apex here, be careful on the outside curb.
I'm back, I think. My apologies. My USB device is giving me a little bit of grief. Apologies for that. But, well then, Morgan, we'll keep finding our way through to these last few laps. Clay Morris leading that battle for 3rd. Now, we've seen Marshall Crocker Jr. do some big saves in race 1 and in race 2 as well. I wonder if he'll have to do the same later on here as, oh, that's a car that's gone off there. It would appear that's Abhi Shrivastava, who's running all the way down in 37th. That's right on track.
Big move here from Ellis on Broomhead at the top of the hill, coming into the final left-hander in the final corner of the track here. Broomhead doesn't seem to want to put up too much of a fight. Seems like he wants to get across the finish line safely and is kind of happy with the spot and happy with who he's driving around so far here with Michael Broomhead.
Yeah, it looks like a stable run to the finish for our leaders at least, and for these guys too. The battling not quite as frenetic as it was in the opening laps. Muniz has a gap of about 5.5 seconds over Maya D'Honorin for the lead of the race. Clay Morris another 2 seconds or so back. you never know. There could actually be quite the battle forming for third place, for second place even. Crocker has made his way past Haynes, moving into P4. As Broomhead seems to be slightly losing touch with this fight. We'll see now other moves being made too. Steven Sutherland and Diego Zuccarelli are trading spots for 22nd place. And it looks like a nice battle happening in the 25th to 27th sort of area. Piquets and Gulborn and Dylan Rennie all fighting over that one too. Cedric O'Hyan making his way into the pits again. Would appear that either he underfueled or he had some damage. But 3 laps to go. Going to have to start gearing up for this finish, and it looks like the intensity is rising here in the battle for 10th.
Yeah, what would you say is the move of the race so far, Reese? You think you're still looking for it in the last few laps here?
I am still looking for it. There's been lots of great moves that have happened in this event. It looked like all of our protagonists in the battle for P10 have clobbered the wall there on the exit of the final corner to an extent, puffing up the dust.
I think Assad ahead here is going to be full press on Dunkovic in the last few laps. This should be an exciting pass here, usually with Assad at the end of these races.
Yeah, indeed. It's going to be fantastic. Oh, have a look at that. Through the bus stop he goes. And that will be Assad Nikardambev through to P10.
It's a good bit of racing out of Assad.
Yeah, it is. Really quite enjoy when he pulls the moves. It looks like he might just be clear enough, but there's still 2 laps remaining after this. Keeping an eye on the braking zone there at the heel of the boot. Oh, Nikardambev going beyond the curb there. Need to be careful of that. The car looked to be slithering across the track slightly. Oh, hello. A little bit wide on the exit there for Dunkovic. That might bring Buchanan into the fight. They're side by side there. And P12 will remain in the hands of Dunkovic. But now they've allowed a chance for Michael Broomhead to catch back up. 2 laps to go here at Watkins
Dunkovic has been the source of a lot of good racing here for BIS races 200 and 201 tonight. He is not exactly letting drivers through for free, but also doing a lot of safe racing and well within etiquette. So good to see from Dunkovic and having a very competitive evening tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Side by side again here. It's Alex Ellis and Assad Nikardambev there. And Alex Ellis has made a nice recovery to get himself back into P10. I've got to wonder, though, is there any extra positions to be made? He's got Jesse Lambert up ahead of him, and Lambert, remember, started all the way back in 19th place. He's had some good drives so far, but is his pace enough to contend with the likes of Sebastian Day, John Benbalid, Alex Ellis, Assad Nikardambev? There's a lot of pace difference here. See who gets the move done. You know, I've been looking back a little bit, and honestly, Mauricio Parada's start was definitely at least worth looking at for move of the race. It's what started his rise through the field. Apart from that, I mean, there's been so many good moves made in this that I'm having trouble picking one.
Yeah, just a lot of solid, clean driving. A lot of respect, no matter what side of the racing these drivers are on. Looks like we have our famous flag bearer here giving us the way for the final lap go-around.
Yeah, last lap begins. Alex Ellis then trying to find his way past John Benbalid. Works his way further into the top 10. Got Assad Nikardambev in tow. They've left behind Dunkovic, Buchanan and Broomhead. And that is super close there between Alex Ellis and Sebastian Day. is going to bring John Benvalid right back into the fold here. Look at this. This might be the move of the race that we're looking for. 3 wide, almost on the way into the bus stop, and Alex Ellis clears Sebastian Day and gets a huge gap there as Day threatens to fall behind the 2 Lima racing cars. Lambert and Benvalid fighting amongst each other into the grass there for Benvalid, and that's going to be Nakadambev taking opportunity.
Yeah, Saad with his elbows out, coming over and touching Benvalid a little bit and getting him over into the grass. Ellis with a great pass into the bus stop. Very exciting racing on the final lap, Reese.
Yeah, super good, and unfortunately that's Jesse Lambert going a little bit too hard out of the corner there. He has lost positions there, and he's continuing to drop, potentially has run out of fuel. We'll have to wait and see on that. Out of the final corner though, Christian Muniz takes victory, and it's going to be 2 wins from 2 for Christian Muniz, and in dominant fashion here in race number 2. Satellite Racing winning both races here. Maya Dionarin taking second. And that's the podium finish that he was looking for, with Marshall Crocker rounding out the podium places. Still on here. Oh, Broomhead gets into the wall. He would have had a great run on Buchanan if it weren't for that. He'll have to settle for 13th out of that one. Still, things to look for here between Zuccarelli and Lambert, who are battling on the final lap. Looks like Lambert is falling further down. I think he might have fuel issues.
It's good to see the guys having fun after a long evening of racing. Putting on a show for the stadium.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's how thick the smoke is. I thought for a second, hang on, is that a video? No, it's just smoke. Oh, and look, giving each other a little smooch, the teammates as well. Stadner Kardenbev and Mauricio Parada. Some really great racing to be had here at Watkins Glen. A nice big track, wide, plenty of space for racing, but I guess now it's time for the move of the race, and if not that move from Ellis on the final lap, I reckon the start from Mauricio Parada might be the go. What do you think, Morgan?
I think my vote's going to be for Ellis in the bus stop. Not only a big move at the end of the second race to gain some positions and some points, but a move like this in the bus stop with this many cars involved is set up multiple corners before this exchange right here. So it's just well planned and well executed by Ellis, and really making sure to pick the right trajectory out of every corner for multiple corners to set up a big move like that. So that's it for me right there tonight.
Yeah, me too. And I think the context surrounding this move is also important, because remember, Ellis was in contention for the lead of the race and was the first to take a pit stop. We didn't get the opportunity to see how that undercut worked out, because he ended up getting involved with another car and carrying some damage, had to go back to the pits. And so he would be working frenetically to gain as many positions as he could. And on the final lap, gaining a couple of positions at a time into the bus stop. Fantastic job from Alex Ellis to recover to P7 in the end. That's a very nice damage limitation right there. Well, from the final race at Watkins Glen, we have Christian Muniz taking victory ahead of Maya Dionarin. The gap in the end, 6.3 seconds. Marshall Crocker not far behind Maya there, and a podium out of that one. A fantastic job from Marshall. He's gotten some consistent results tonight. Clay Morris from 5th to 4th. Mauricio Parada with the most positions gained in the field. Started 27th, ends up 5th in the end. 22 spots gained. Hugely impressive run. Joey Haynes and Alex Ellis round out your top 7. Sebastian Day takes the AM class victory ahead of Asad Nikardabev and John Benvalid to round out the top 10. Jared Dunkovic started in 8th, but unfortunately fell back a little. He finishes ahead of Zach Buchanan, who started in 29th place. Michael Broomhead started on pole and had a quiet race to P13 in the end. Jacob Batter gaining 16 places to finish in 14th. Cara Dudgeon in 15th place ahead of Declan Dionarin, Mark Boyd, Maxime Armand. Daniel Zippy Salmon finishes 19th. ahead of Wyatt Cormier to round out the top 20. Diego Zuccarelli, we expected another good result from him, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way. Involved in a couple of prangs was Diego, and he had to settle for 21st after starting 6th. Steven Sutherland started almost dead last, finished 22nd in the end. A nice solid drive from the number 70. Harlan Gilborn and Jonathan McKays in 23rd and 24th. Brady Clapham started on the front row, but unfortunately came a cropper a few times in the second race. Finishes 25th ahead of Scarali, Payton, O'Hyan, and Covey. Those are your last cars on the lead lap. Jesse Lambert, Keenan Blades, JF LaRocque, Rick Boyd, Ovidio Milos, and Richard Morris, all a lap down on the leader. Dylan Rennie finishes, but 4 laps down, and unfortunately Paul Casamajor, though he did finish on track, still 8 laps down. Abby Shrivastava ended his race in the pits, and it was the same for Richard Hibbs and Kenton Young. Shame for those at the back, but for those at the front, it is certainly cause for celebration. We have a ton of drivers here waiting for interviews, so looks like we're going to have to pick who's going to jump in first, and the obvious choice is the winner of both races today, Christian Muniz. And wow, Christian, the satellite cars came here with a really good platform underneath them. You and Alex taking that dominant 1-2 in race 1. A little bit more of a difficult job in race 2, though, taking the pit stop into account.
Yeah, so for race 1, it was just fell into my lap pretty much. Was leading, and then a lapped car threw a curveball into everybody from second back, so I was able to walk away nicely with that on the last lap. And then second race, it was just again fortunate from other people's mistakes. So I shouldn't say mistakes, but what happened with Alex was he tried to pit early to undercut me, which was a smart move, and then came out around a bunch of slower cars, and then that ended up causing an incident. So that's how I was able to get away a little bit, and then from there on, I was just tried to stay consistent, do my laps, and then that got me to where I finished.
Yeah, certainly did. It's a good opportunity to regain some points here with our championship leader, Racine Fazui, absent for this round, and 3 rounds remaining in the championship. Yeah, it really is go time now, isn't it?
Very much so. These races come down always to the last lap. Who has the best draft, who has the best racecraft. So the last 3 rounds here are going to be a thrill for sure.
Yeah, absolutely they are. Well, congratulations on taking the dub both times in this event, Mr. Muniz. We appreciate you coming in for a chat, and hopefully chatting to you next time round.
I appreciate it, guys. Take care.
Christian Muniz with a fantastic performance today, the round winner here at Watkins Glen. Before we go to Maya Dionarin, I reckon we should have a chat to Marshall Crocker and get his perspective on that incredible save towards the end of race 1. Did you have to change your underwear in between races, Marshall?
I most certainly did. 5-minute warm-up break, not enough. Not enough. I could have used about 10 more minutes. Man, that I can't even like to be honest, it really does feel like my night ended 45 minutes ago at that moment because yeah, holy cow. It's funny. Do you know what I'm going to attribute that moment to? I drive a little 2-seater, little light rear-wheel drive car, and today it snowed like crazy. I had a horrible commute, whatever. I've been seesawing the wheel all day to keep a car on the road. I think it served me right. I think that was my training montage for what was a moment I wish hadn't happened like that. I think we would have had a really good 3 wide there to that next chicane, and just like we had a couple times in the future. But it's not what she wrote. Instead, I got a cool moment out of it.
You certainly do, and we got it in slow-mo from a couple of different angles as well, so I think you'll have a treat when you go back to watch the broadcast replay later, Marshall. But a 4th and a 3rd from this round. In the end, consistent points, and that'll really help you out here to start the second half of the season off.
It really will, and I think the big thing for me is I'm kind of shifting gears in my approach. You know, last year when I was in the amateurs, it kind of became clear early on. I had pretty consistent pace to just kind of hold my own in class and didn't really have to push the issue too much. So I tried to keep it relatively chill, operated at about 90% all the way through. But I did the same first half of the year. I'm trying to keep that streak going. I've finished every lap I've ever done in Radical Canada. But the little break we had over Christmas made me think, like, man, I really got to get my stuff in order when it comes to, I got to push the limit, really give it 100%, tune the card on the loosest it'll go just to find more pace. And me as the driver, it's my responsibility to learn how to drive it like that. I've made real headway this last couple weeks. I think today my just flat out pace was more on display there. Both races I had to come back through the field, which is something that typically I'm in a good spot, trying not to drop backwards. This week I had to be going forwards, but also just got a new rig finished, so that's playing a piece of it as well. Looking forward to having that the rest of the way, and I just like the tracks on the way out. So I think this is the start of things to come, and really it'll be a look ahead. If the title's wrapped up, I'll be looking ahead to round 8 at Motorsport. I'd like to defend my overall race win from last season.
Absolutely. That was a great achievement. Let's see if you can repeat it. Thanks for joining us, Marshall, and enjoy yourself for the rest of the night. Hopefully no more big scares like we saw through the S's.
Thank you so much. Hopefully in my my day-to-day life, nothing is ever as stressful as this race on Wednesday nights. So thank you, Christian. Thank you, Reese. Shout out to Zippy, who is racing out there today. You guys put on a great product, and beautiful save or not, I always have a reason to go back and watch your stuff. Thank you.
Cheers, Marshall Crocker Jr. there. Third place in race 2. Next up, I think we might do a double because we don't just have Maya Diona in here with us. We have Declan too, as we bring them both in. Sorry for the surprise, guys. But man, starting with Maya, that was an incredible race too from you, battling for the lead. Didn't quite get it in the end, but nailing the pit cycle and staying out of trouble was key to success today.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the start, I got a really good jump. I think I got up into, what was that, second place. And then I think all I had was Brady in front of me. And I got by him on about lap 2 and then just tried to pull away from the field because I knew the draft was going to be like everybody would be catching up, right? And then Alex caught up to me. I ended up just letting him go and trying to push him to get away from the rest of the field. He was a little bit quicker than me, so I dropped back. And then eventually Christian passed me, tried to do the same with him, and actually managed to stay with both of them for a couple of laps there until the end where, well, not the end, I guess, just before we were coming into the pits. I got blocked by a couple of lap cars. I think I lost about 2 or 3 seconds. Ended up finishing in second place, so I'm happy with that result after an unfortunate sprint race there.
Yeah, indeed. Still, getting the top 10 in both races is nothing to sneeze at. Declan, for your first time here in Radical Cup Canada, you were in the midfield for the majority of that and showed some great turns of pace. But I think from the broadcast perspective, it was chaos in those positions. How was it for you?
Yeah, it definitely was chaos. There was multiple times in the race where I didn't know what was going to happen and I was scared and I was just praying I wouldn't get hit. We had an unfortunate sprint race where we crashed, but we just had to focus on the next race. So I found out as soon as I started there was a strategy involved and I've never done anything like that before. So actually on the outlap, I called my brother and I was asking him about the strategy. And he told me what to do, and I just tried to drive my race as clean as I could. I got a little bit of damage on the start, but it wasn't very much, so I just had to put my head down and keep driving. I nailed the pit stop, and I managed to come back to third.
Yeah, indeed. AM Class P3 there for you, and a consistent finish from the both of you today. So we're looking forward to seeing more of that in the second half of the season. Declan and Maya Diona, thank you very much for joining us, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
Yes, thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Excellent stuff from both Declan and Maya today. We're going to have a chat also to our AM Class winner from race 2. And my goodness, Sebastian Day, once again, this is a crucial round for the championship. Second half of the season getting off to a start here. But man, you were right in the thick of it as well, weren't you?
Yeah, it was absolutely a crazy race there. And just poor qualifying for me again with this very close championship. I wasn't too thrilled about that, but I think I managed to show that I'm not just paced like from earlier in the season. I got racecraft too, and we managed to go up from 21st to 12th in the sprint race. So that was good to get me in a good position there for the final.
Yeah, I've said this a few times to a few drivers. staying out of trouble was really key, but it's difficult at a track like this with so many high-speed, high-load corners. If something happens right in front of you, it's very difficult to respond in time.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about keeping your nose clean in this one, especially. It was a good battle there with Jesse at the end, but I did make the move. Probably was going to hold on to it, but unfortunate for him to run out of gas there. So yeah, good points haul. That's what we need. Looking to get to the top of the championship.
Fantastic stuff, Sebastian. Things working out very nicely for you today with a 12th and an 8th overall. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the remaining 3 rounds of the season bring for you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, guys.
And last but not least, we'll close things off with the guy who didn't get much airtime today with everything that was going on throughout the field, but getting behind the wheel for Radicals here at Watkins Glen. It's on your Princess-approved track list, Zippy. Welcome.
Yeah, definitely. Race 1 was, I had a lot of fun in that. I personally just nominated myself a move of the race. I don't think it happened, but you know what, biased opinion, that near the end, it was absolutely phenomenal. But I gotta say, these guys and the girls are absolutely like incredibly potently quick, like concerningly quick. Like I'm thinking, okay, I am milking this car so hard, I'm gonna have enough to make tea, coffee, and indeed open at Starbucks at this rate. No. Like I was practicing with Cara, and I'm thinking, okay, Cara's quick. Yeah, P7 in practice. I'll be able to stay over for a lap or two. No, gone. Just absolutely checked out. So sheer testament to the quality of drivers we've got in here, but definitely had some really fun battles. A little bit of a fun joke. I didn't have my paint loaded right before the session. I got a 10th quicker rocking a Lima Racing livery, ladies and gentlemen. So if you want to go faster, that's one way of doing it.
Excellent stuff. Certainly is a lovely looking livery that Lima have on their cars. Got Pit Road Productions on the car as well. You're going to be back in the commentary box next round at Donington Park. I guess you've now gotten a sense for the driving here at Watkins Glen. What do you think Donington Park's going to bring for the full-time competitors?
Donington Park, I think it's going to be a little bit of a learning experience for a couple of drivers because it is going to be the Grand Prix layout rather than the national layout. And that's definitely going to catch a few people on the way. It's going to take a little bit of practice. I think we're going to see some extra passes in the 180-degree hairpin at the end of that GP layout. I think that's going to be good. And I also think it's going to be one of those where you've got to really choose where to make the pass. Redgate is going to be a good opportunity as well. But I'm going to give Christian a hard time for this. While I did get 14th in the main feature, I got 2nd in AM. That makes me sound much faster. So let's go with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, it's going to be an absolute belt. And thank you again, Morgan, for stepping in. We've been keeping him on Pit Road Productions for quite a bit the last couple of weeks. Attaboy.
Yeah,
Indeed.
Reese was keeping me busier than usual tonight. The audience had to suffer through a 60 seconds of my play-by-play when Reese had a replug in his mic. So.
Oh, definitely. I'm sure you did an absolutely cracking job. Ladies and gentlemen, the velvety voice of Mr. Morgan Smith.
Absolutely.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, I think we got a few velvety voices in this commentary box. Christian Hill's got some pretty nice pipes on him as well. But we'll let you go for now, Zippy. Have a rest after a very hard-fought race, 14th and 19th today, but still with that P2 in the AM class. Certainly your pace is nothing to sneeze at. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, gentlemen.
And that's going to bring things to a close here for the Radical Cup Canada Winter Series by BIS Sim Leagues. Races 200 and 201 are down and dusted, and here's to the next 200. Honestly, Morgan, this was a fantastic event. Plenty of fast, clean racing, a few big moves, a little bit of drama and action as well. Had everything that we were looking for.
Yeah, top to bottom thriller for me. Watkins Glen is a hit. It's one of my local tracks here as well, so an absolute pleasure to be able to sit in on this one in particular. Race 200 and 201. Not much else to say about BIS. It's the place to be. Zippy just explained these drivers have the pace. They know what they're doing out there. So I think if anyone wants to be competitive, this is the place to do it. And I'm hoping to see even more guys out there in the future.
Absolutely. We're going to be going in 2 weeks' time to Donington Park for the 6th round of the season. So we're hoping that you'll be able to join us for that. But next Wednesday, running on the off weeks of this championship, we've got the BIS F1600 Championship. I believe Zandvoort is the round that we are racing at there. So I might not be in the comms box. I might be behind the wheel for that. So stay tuned to the Pit Road Productions YouTube channel for updates on that. And don't forget also the Canadian F1200 Esports Championship too is going to be happening on Friday night at Summit Point. Entries still open for that series, taking a half-day test in a real-world Formula V car from Cartini Racing. Prize also on offer for this radical series as well. The guys at Lima Racing, I believe, have managed to pull together and bring us a real-world test drive for the Pro and Am champions of this series. It's fantastic to see the real world and the virtual world coming together in such an incredible fashion. Scan that QR code on your screen. If you're watching on replay and it's just disappeared, you can just rewind a little bit. But here it is again. Yeah, just scan the QR code, join the Discord, and get involved with BIS. 200 races down and going very strong. Thanks very much for watching. I'm Reese Gardner. Morgan Smith alongside me in the comms box, and Christian Hill behind the scenes here on Pit Road Productions. We appreciate your patronage, and we hope to see you again for our next show in just a couple of days' time.